Well, Cindy, thank you ever so much for a great presentation. It's pretty disturbing, some of the examples you came up with. And I think that patient payments of money to patient groups is a major concern, and it's one of the reasons why Q asked for reporting, and we're looking at sort of what that magnitude is. We're not saying no to $0, but you cannot be looking at a situation where you start to think, well, the dollars are starting to influence what the behavior is. What I would say is that any case where the patient loses and pharma wins is absolutely unacceptable. But I would say there may be some situations where pharma wins and patient can win as well. So the main coalition to fight prostate cancer, and you gave AbbVie a really bad name, but AbbVie produces hormone therapy for men that have advanced prostate cancer. AbbVie gives us something less than $500 worth of books that are produced by a well-known prostate cancer guy at University of Michigan, Mark Moyad. And this is advertising for AbbVie, and it's doing benefit to our patients. So we're not talking about any dollars changing hands. We're not talking about anything that would influence. It's not material. It's not something that's going to influence anything that we do. But I would sort of say there can be selectively situations where there may be win-win. But you've obviously come up with some examples that are just egregious behavior. The other thing that I would say is when you start looking at conflict of interest, I'm going to say that the dollar issues may be actually simpler than some other questions. So any of us that have served on the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program, the FDA, PCORI, when we're doing grant reviews, we can try to forcefully represent what the patient perspective is, but we can do so at the risk of losing the seat at the table. And so I was the only patient representative at an FDA workshop on Tuesday. And I literally did take, in my prepared comments, I took the FDA to task on multiple issues. But if there had been 50 prostate cancer patients in the room, I would bet that there would be 5 to 10 that would say, well, you didn't hit them hard enough. And I'm always having, and all of us are having to balance, so how hard do you push to do the patient piece? And I think that was ACT UP that you had. So ACT UP was really frontal, in your face. Yeah. And being in your face helped them and their cause at that time because they were not getting any traction. But I would say there's conflicts of interest in multiple places. When we're serving on panels, there's a challenge. We've submitted some articles to publication, and do you sort of modify what you're saying, how you're saying it? All of us who have submitted grants have wiggled a little bit. And especially when we're in front of the video cameras, there's a real temptation to sort of throw, to go after the red meat issues that sort of, get your base going. But again, you've got to sit there and say sort of what's responsible. So what I would say is everybody has to sort of make a determination for yourself, but the line that I have drawn that I think is useful is I believe that when you come to conflict of interest, I can't change what I think needs to be said. But I do think, we can frame what we're saying to adapt to the audience that we have. I mean, if I get too frontal with the FDA, the patient community actually loses. So each one of you has to decide sort of where you are on that spectrum. But I would actually say there's a lot of different conflicts of interest, And I think what I'd like to do is now open the conversation to all of you and sort of hear how you're managing conflicts of interest and have questions to Cindy.